Thank, thank you for having me here. I'm so excited to share this class with you all. This is a very beginner sublimation friendly class, and I'm going to go through the products that we are going to need. And then if you have any questions along the way, go ahead and drop it down in the comment section, and we'll be able to answer those questions for you. So we are creating two types of projects. Well, it's the same thing, but two types of pencil cases. So this one is a flip sequin pencil case. So one side is silver, the other side is white. And on the reverse side, you have this satin finish, really beautiful. You can sublimate both sides. Today, we're sublimating only the flip sequin side. And then we are also sublimating on this linen pencil case. Both sides is linen. And you have your zipper here, and they fit a lot of products. Now these are going to be two back to school projects for teacher and student. So let's go over the products that we will need, materials that we will need for this class. So you need a sublimation paper with a sublimation printer. And let me close this here. Maybe you can see that right behind me. I don't know where to move it, but I have a sublimation printer right there, right behind me. And we will need some sublimation paper. Print your design. So wherever you like to design, print your design. And then I'm going to go over the steps to prepping your paper in order to transfer your design over to fabric, because there's some tips there that I would love to share with you. You will also need a ruler, sublimation, not sublimation, heat resistant tape, tape dispenser, a lint roller, and a heat press. I don't recommend using a home iron for sublimation. It does not reach the required temperature in order to sublimate. And then we have this other pressure issue where we really need to keep that steady so it doesn't shift. And then we have what we call ghosting. So basically what it is that the ink doesn't transfer all the way, and then if it shifts, you will see kind of like a shadow there. So I'm going to go over some great tips when you are sublimating on fabric and what you need to do to prevent those issues from happening. So let's get started first with the flip sequin. This one is one of my personal favorites. I love the sequins. So cute. I love to play with it too. So this one's a really fun one for me. Now, when we're working with sequins, we don't need the lint roller, but we're going to need that when we are working with the linen. Now, the first thing we want to do whenever we are planning to design something for whatever you're using, whether it's a pencil case, a t-shirt, a tumbler, you want to make sure you get those measurements down. So I collect two types of measurements. One of my measurements will be the size of my actual product, right? So I take my ruler and I measure the width of my pencil case. And this one's 8.5 or about 8.5. And then the height of my pencil case, but right below the zipper line. And so from the zipper to the other end, it measures 6.25 inches. Okay, so that's the first measurements that I collect. That gives me the template that I'm working with, right? So if you want to create a rectangular with those measurements in the program that you use, we use those measurements. My second measurement that I collect is the actual area in which I'm going to sublimate. So my rule of thumb is when you're using, in this case, the pencil case, you want to leave a 2-finger margin all around or on the 4 sides, 2-finger margin, so that your design is centered and you're not going on the edges where you have a curve up the top or right here where you have the zipper. So I would like to keep my measurements within that sort of margin that I create. So the maximum I would create my design would be 6 inches in width. All right, so that being said, I have one here ready. But before I even apply this one, I want to show you a quick trick on how to apply designs on, especially on items that are flat, just like this one, and it's fabric. So you don't have those lines embossed on your fabric. If you are already sublimating and possibly started using fabric, you will notice that sometimes you have the lines when you after you sublimate, you'll see that you can still see those lines on your fabric, and in occasions those lines don't remove even after washing. So I'm going to show you a quick tip on how to prevent those lines from marking. But before I go on, is there any questions um, from what I have shared so far?
Sorry, no questions so far.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I have my print here. I did print on both sides. So the first thing we want to do is tear using our fingers. So we're not using scissors. If you notice, I didn't even mention scissors at all. So why do we tear? We tear so that the lines are subtle. When we are tearing, do you see how it creates it's not a perfect cut, but because it's not perfect and we have parts of our paper still hanging there, the lines are not going to what I call emboss. And when something embosses, it's permanent. It doesn't remove. So we want to prevent those lines from embossing into our fabric, and that's why we tear with our fingernails instead of using scissors. So that's one of my first tips that I think it's very important to know when we are sublimating on fabric. Now, the flip sequence is actually very easy to use because even if you forget this step, your lines will not be embossed. But when we are using something like the linen pencil case that we will be working on, those lines will be embossed. So just as a rule of thumb, I always do this step um, with every fabric that I use. Okay, let me move these aside. My table looks a bit too busy, so let me move these to the side. Okay. So then the second step when working with these flip sequence is to make sure that all the sequins are facing the white side of the sequence. So you have silver and white. Now, sometimes when we flip them over, we do have a few that stay in the silver side of the sequence. So make sure you flip them because this turns to kind of like a puzzle piece. So if it's facing the wrong side, when you sublimate it and then you play with it, you're going to realize that it is facing, it doesn't look right? So make sure that they're all facing the side. Next step is to take our print onto the pencil case. So let's tape it down, and we're going to be using heat resistant tape for this. And my super cool tape dispenser that allows me to work faster because it cuts those strips of tape for me. Now, I like to tape down all four sides of the print to make sure that it doesn't lift while pressing it. So make sure to add enough tape so it's not lifting. Now for today's project, I am using Craft Express Workspace Heat Press. And I've set my press to 385 degrees Fahrenheit for 45 seconds. And that's kind of the time and temperature that we use here at Craft Express for all of our fabric products. And this is one of them. So if you notice, today we're going to be working with linen and flip sequence. And even though it is a slightly different material, we are still using the same time and temperature. So 385 for 45 seconds. So then I'm going to place, it's already preheated. I'm going to place the pencil case in my heat press, and I'm leaving the zipper on the outside. If I press my pencil case like this, it will not move. So I'm going to press it in the middle, and then I'm going to press it in the center. So I'm going to press it in the middle, and then I'm going to press it in the center. So my pencil case like this, the height of the zipper will not allow for the heat to evenly spread across my design, especially the top portion. So that's why I'm pulling it to the outside, making sure that I still have part of my print inside my heat. So now let's close it. Now another tip for you, just so you don't forget, is to take a piece of parchment paper, butcher paper, and place it on top. The purpose for this step is just so that if ink seeps, it's not staining your or stains the rest of your product. So let's close this up. And the cool thing about these presses is that there is a knob at the top that you can use to adjust the pressure. And what that means is how my upper plate comes down or up. And this allows us to press different types of products, different types of flat items, whether it's fabric, a tag, luggage tag, or a coaster. It will give us that pressure that we need. So basically, how much it closes up and makes a yeah, like a sandwich with our product that we're pressing and the top plate. So 45 seconds are up. We remove it. We'll see how easy this is to press. There we go. I don't know if you can tell in the camera, but I already seen those colors come through, and that's how you know you've done a good job pressing. Let's remove it. Now we want to remove this carefully so you don't burn your hands, and quickly. And look at the final results. I love how vibrant and beautiful colors turned out after we sublimate. And this was such a quick and easy project. I think I took longer explaining than what I actually took creating this project. Now I want to show you the before and after. Sorry, it's been a little. So this is our before. Look at the colors. They're a little dull in comparison to our final project. You can see how vibrant and how rich these colors turned out compared to the before. So if you are new to sublimating and you look at your print, you're like, wait a minute, my colors do not look exactly like they do on my screen. Don't worry, because after you have that heat on your fabric and on your print, you will have this very beautiful and vibrant colors. This is one of my favorite things about sublimation, is having this professional looking, easy project. So it's super easy to make. Now we can also sublimate the back of this. So I'm going to go ahead and do that since I do have this other print here. And we're going to place it on the back just so you can see how it looks on both sides. We do have different types of product on this same linen pencil case. So one side was flip sequin, and then this other side is more like a satin finish. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. And remember, in this case, because we are doing front and back of the pencil case, we want to place the piece of butcher paper on the press, on the bottom. Because I am placing this on the bottom here, we have the risk that the ink will transfer over to our press, and we don't want that to happen. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to bring this one closer to you. Is there any questions so far that I can answer?
No questions so far.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we're going to press the opposite side. I put my butcher paper down here to protect the bottom side of my press. What else can we share here? All right, we're going to, while we wait for this one to be ready, we're going to prep our linen pencil case. Again, this one's both sides. And now this one, we are going to use the lint roller. And the purpose of that is to make sure that we don't have any loose threads or debris on the fabric. If you forget this step, chances are that after you're pressing, you're going to see pieces of fabric stuck on there. and then you won't be able to remove it. Or like lint on it, and then you can't remove it after you press it. So let's remove this so I can show you how that looks. Look how vibrant that turned out. Now, if you notice, there is no other lines on there. You can just see my print. And again, that is the purpose of tearing along the edges of your paper to make sure that those lines are not embossed onto your fabric. And look how wonderful this turned out. So vibrant. All right, let's move on with our linen. So we have already done the cleaning part with the lint roller, and probably can't tell, but I did pick up some lint on it. So that's a great thing. Now for linen or other fabrics, we want to do this very important step, which is called preheating. So when we preheat, we do two things. Number one, if you have a wrinkly product, such as a t-shirt, it removes the wrinkles. Number two, it removes moisture, which in turn helps us have a very vibrant result because of that moisture that we're removing. Now we're only going to press it for like 5 seconds. I'm going to check my time here. All right, and that's enough. After we press it, we are ready now to place our design. Same thing, I have my other print here, and I've tear only half of my paper. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you again how we do that process. Make sure when you're doing the tearing that you don't accidentally tear part of your print. It has happened to me in the past when I try to do that quickly. We tear with our fingernails on all 4 sides. Something else that I forgot to mention is when you are doing your designing for this type of project and you're ready to print, make sure you mirror your design so that when you press it, it's looking like it should. Especially when it comes to writing, if I were to forget to mirror this and then press it, I would see it backwards. So make sure that you do that step once you select your design to go and print. All right, now I'm looking at my direction first so I know where I'm supposed to stick my print. All right, so we're placing here first on one side, then we'll do the other side. Center it as well. We're adding some tape. This is a perfect project to do with kids at home. It is the perfect project for those that are just beginning with sublimation. You can even use sublimation markers and have your children draw on a piece of paper, and then they can create their own back to school pencil cases.
Now, Abby, did you print that ahead of time, or was that a pre-made
Yes, I printed
design?
ahead of time.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So now I'm going to, again, place it on the edge. Make sure your zipper is on the outside of your press, and then we're going to press it. Same time and temperature, 385 degrees for 45 seconds. Now I did keep my butcher paper on the bottom just to make sure that if any ink did go through, I'm not pressing it again, and then it will go through on my pencil case. So always make sure to do that step. Sometimes I don't put a butcher paper at the top. It's fine, but if for like protection or if you're just getting started, I recommend using butcher paper or parchment paper for that. Now, as I mentioned, you can also use markers. So if you don't have a sublimation printer, you can definitely use these markers. You draw on a regular printer paper and use sublimate the same way that I'm using now, but that's a good technique to use if you don't have a printer yet. All right, so we have this one ready. I'm going to reveal it like this. You can see how wonderful this turns out. Look how beautiful that is. From something that was just plain, I made it look super cute, ready for back to school. Now let's do the opposite side. Same thing. Always remember to tear along those edges. And I'm going to try to place my linen, my pencil case, very close to the screen so you can see how there is no lines of my paper marks onto the fabric, which is our goal when we are tearing
And Abby, is the pouch
around the
polyester?
image. Yes. So I should have mentioned that. So this type of fabrics need to have a polyester coating. Whenever we're sublimating, your fabrics needs to be a high count of polyester. So 65% above is the goal. These are Craft Express pencil pouches, sorry, and they are 100% polyester. So let me see if I can pull the tag close enough. I don't know if you can tell, but there is a tag inside and it does say above it 100% polyester. And if you are using products that are not Craft Express, make sure that your products are light colors. So I wouldn't be able to sublimate on a polyester dark t-shirt. It has to be light fabrics. All right, so I'm going to apply my other prints on the other side. And add some tape. And yes, I have designed this prior to the class. I also printed it prior to the class so that I'd be ready because it does take longer if I show you how to design under that. All right, so we have we've taped it down. I still have my butcher paper there because remember, I'm putting this against my machine and against the little cushion, and I don't want that ink to go over to the cushion there. Otherwise, next time I try to press something, then it will pick up some of that ink and you will see it on your next project. And it's going to ruin it and it won't come off because sublimation is permanent. All right, and we're pressing it again, same time and temperature, 385 for 45 seconds. I've also adjusted prior to the class, but I will show you how to do that after we're done pressing this, how to adjust for pressure depending on the product that you're using, which is very easy to do. I know some people ask like, where do I put it? Unfortunately, there's like no numbers to give you like a setting specifically. It's more like the feel and it's just rotating the knob to the right or to the left, which brings our plate either higher or lower depending on the product that you're pressing. And as you may notice when I close the press, I wasn't hand wrestling with it. That's the best way I can explain it. When we are feeling for pressure or adjusting for pressures, you don't want to wrestle your press. You want it to be easy to close, still feel some tension. All right, so the big reveal again. Love showing the big reveal. At Craft Express, we call this the wow moment. When you revealed and you're like, wow, I made this at home and it looks so cool. All right, so we've done front and back. Moving this to a side. We've done front and back to both of these pencil cases. Use the same time and temperature. Use the same pressure. And we have beautiful professional results right at home. This is something that is not going to wash off. It's not going to come off. Doesn't matter how many times you throw this in the washer. It's not going to fade away or anything like that. Sublimation is permanent, which is something that I absolutely love, that we can do this from home. All right, so I did promise I'm going to show you how to adjust for pressure. So I'm going to grab another pencil case here, because when we do this step, I recommend doing it before you turn on your press, because when you are moving this and trying to adjust it, this is heating up quickly. So I'm going to show you how to adjust for pressure when you're pressing any product. It follows the same rules, except for in this case, because it is a pencil case with a zipper. You want to keep your zipper on the outside. Okay. So what we do is we turn the knob at the top, and either to the right or to the left. To the right, it brings the plate down lower. And so when we close it, see how I can't even close my press anymore? It has too much pressure. So what that means is this plate is too low. It doesn't have the enough space to actually close the press and clamp that item down there. I don't want to force it. The objective is not to force it. So to release some of the pressure, I'm going to turn my knob to the left. Notice though that I am standing behind the press. So have that in mind when I say turn it to the left or the right. And I will bring my plate up higher so that when I close it, I'm able to close it easily. I could even still add a little bit more pressure. Again, the goal is to feel tension. So the way I can best describe it is you want to feel like two magnets. If you place two magnets together and they attract each other, correct? You want to feel sort of like that type pressure. Nothing where you are hurting your arm constantly because you're closing and opening up your press. So then once we've set our pressure, this is already warm, so I don't even have to preheat it. Then I would be able to go forth with applying my print to it. So it's that easy to use. That's all you got to do. Adjust. And the great thing about these type of presses is you can adjust to any flat product that you are pressing and have perfect results time after time. Are there any other questions for me?
Not currently.
Okay. Well, that is the project for these pencil cases. We've done front and back. We've done the linen and the flip sequence. Both were at the same pressure and time and temperature, which was 385 for 45 seconds. I did also mention that you can use markers for this if you don't have a sublimation printer. So we have these sublimation markers that you can draw, freehand draw, and then transfer them over. So this would be another really cool project to do with kids for back to school and have them create their own pencil cases for back to school. So we still have some time, correct?
That is correct.
So let me grab a piece of paper to do that quick demo. Ooh, trying to grab paper here. So I'm going to do a really quick demo to show you how that works. So this is regular printer paper. Okay. And I am going to tear half of it because I don't need that much for this project. And we are going to create a design for the pencil case. So I'm going to make something real quick here. Let's draw an apple. I think we can never go wrong with an apple for a teacher. So I'm going to draw an apple here real quick. Don't mind my artistic skill here. and I'm going to show you how easy this is. So I have my apple here. Let's draw the stem. And we're going to draw a leaf. And I'm attempting to guide myself with the design here. And I'm just going to do an initial. But if you remember, I said you have to make sure you mirror it. So what I would do is write with the pencil on the back, right? Or try to reverse draw. So I actually have a pencil here in handy, and I'm going to do a initial here, a letter in the middle. I don't know if you can tell there with the pencil. So then when I flip it over, I'm going to be able to see it and trace that. So let's trace it. And then I can't actually see it. There we go. Okay, so right now, because it's mirror, can't actually tell what's going on there. So when we sublimate it, we will be able to see it's an F. It's an F in cursive, by the way. All right. So I'm just going to do this design on the lint pencil case to do a quick demo of the markers and how they work. Don't forget to tear the edges. I think my apple was way too high on that portion. We're gonna be very careful tearing it. Sure I don't end up tearing my work of art here. All right, so here's my work of art, and we're going to tape it. Same thing, same steps we did with the sublimation prints I had, and then we're going to sublimate. Because I did write with pencil at the top, I'm going to place the piece of butcher paper on the top to make sure it's not the pencil markings or the ink doesn't seep through. Because that's another thing with the sublimation markers, the ink tend to seep through a lot more. So we want to avoid that from staining the press. So again, it's at 385, 45 seconds, and then I'll show you how that turns out. I saw a comment there, a question that popped up.
It's just about the press that you're currently using.
Okay. Yeah, this is the Craft Express Workspace heat press. And it's a press that you can adjust pressure and set time and temperature yourself. It is available through mytools.com. Right, so this comes with 18 sublimation markers. You can also purchase them at mytools.com. And now we get to see the results of that piece. So let me show you here. Can you see the ink went through? So that's the purpose for this paper. So it picks up the ink and it doesn't stain the press. Let me put that way. And again, a great way to see if your design transfer is when you can see it through the other side of the paper, as you can see here. So then let's remove it to reveal the final results. Look at that, super cute. So again, I think this is super fun to do with kids at home, especially now they're getting ready for back to school. And we can do a project that they can create themselves at home, personalize their pencil cases, maybe even a water bottle or other products, and have them create their own designs. My kids love to draw, so this is something that they definitely enjoy doing for back to school, and it is super fun to do. Super easy. You may notice they're gonna need some help with the heat press, but they can decorate it themselves and create permanent designs. This is not gonna wash off. It's not gonna go away anytime soon. It's a great way to have a keepsake of every year if you like to do this every year with your children. It is a great product if you're looking to start business in sublimation. It's a great product to start with because of how useful it is, right? And it is easy to create. So you can definitely do this as a business or just as a hobby at home. Do we have any questions?
No, looks like everybody's just learning from all that information.
Great. Okay, so let's do something else because I think we still have some time, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, let's move on to something else. Let's keep using these markers. And I'm going to pull one of those pencil flip sequins. So you can see that the markers will work the same both on the linen and the flip sequence. And we have two samples here. I had my other piece of paper. I put it here. Yes. I teared it and put it here. All right, so let's do our designing here on this side. And again, remember the tip that I share. If you're doing names, you want to make sure you do it with pencil and then flip it over and write it down. So I'm going to do a name here. Let's do my name. I was going to do cursive, but it's a little bit harder to see it when we're doing cursive. So that's my name in pencil. We're going to flip it over to trace it. Go ahead and do it. Flip it over. All right. Now these are special markers. These are not like regular markers that you can buy from the store. These markers have a special ink that works with products that are coated with polyester in order to work with sublimation. Okay. And we want to make sure that every product that we are sublimating on is coated with that polyester coating. I always recommend that when you're doing this, you want to make sure that you are purchasing your items from businesses, sorry, that you know, or stores that you know that carry sublimation products. So one of them here, michaels.com, you will find all of our Craft Express products here that you can choose from and sublimate. So I highly recommend that you go for that. You want to make sure you are using quality items and in order to get, perfect results. Otherwise, you'll run into problems where the ink doesn't go through or the product is the covering of the coating of the product is falling apart. So you want to always make sure that you're getting quality items. And so these products have evenly coated, they're 100% polyester, so that you get a perfect transfer no matter how many times you've created your design. So let's, for example, I had for my other samples at the beginning of the class, I had these two samples sitting on my table. So these were two items I created before the class. And if we compare them and put them side by side to the ones that I did during the class, you will see that the result is exactly the same. So when a product is evenly coated, now these come in sets of 4, by the way, they're evenly coated, you should be able to replicate the same results. Same thing goes for your press. You want to make sure that your press has an even heat all around its plate so that when you're pressing more than one item, let's say you want to do this for a business, right? You have your business and you have an order of 10 pencil cases for each teacher at a school. You want to make sure that you can replicate that same results over and over again, and you're not going to get different tones of red or different tones of yellow on your pencil cases. You want all of them to look the same. So that is one important reason why you should get at a place where you know that they are giving you quality items. And so this is something you can find here at michaels.com. This is Craft Express Flip Sequin pencil cases, and they come in sets of 4. Same thing with our linen. If I put these side by side, you will see that they look exactly the same. Have the same vibrancy, the same intensity of color in both of the pencil cases, even on the other side. Okay. All right, let me finish doing my, look, I'm almost done. Isn't that cute? That's why I love doing these type of projects with a family. I think they are fun to do, easy to do, and this is a great project idea to do even if you're hosting a party at home. This is a fun activity um, for your guests. A back to school night party, and then have them make their own pencil cases that they can take home and use all school year. All right, so I am finishing up here my design so we can go ahead and sublimate this. You have no idea how many stuff I created with my name on them, and I still keep going. It is so fun to do. All right, so I'm almost here, about to finish doing some cute little leaves on each of my flowers. And then we're gonna go ahead and sublimate. That way we see all the different colors. All right, so we have that ready. And again, don't forget to tear along the edges. Whoop. Stop that. And because my other butcher paper was already stained from my previous project, I am going to use a new one. Don't reuse your butcher paper. Don't you reuse your prints. Even if you feel like it still has some ink, don't reuse it. You will not have the same vibrant design. Okay, now I'm going to tape this here. Try to center it. And we're adding some tape again.
Abby, do you have a printer that you recommend?
I recommend using Sublimation Printer. So the one that I'm using that's right behind me is the Sawgrass SG500. There's also a brother printer. It's a new Sublimation Printer, and there's the Epson um, Sublimation Printer. I think it's called the F1 Fur Color. The one that I'm currently using though is the Sawgrass. Let me see if I can pull my press more to the left to show you the printer. And the cool thing about these printers is that they have been designed specifically for those sublimation inks so that you get a guarantee that your designs are or your prints are going to come out perfect based on the colors that you see on your computer. Let me bring this. There we go. And you can see it. So this is the Sawgrass SG500. It is a original sublimation printer. And that is what I used to print the designs that I showed you for the projects that we made. It is, I recommend it. The prints, you saw the prints. The colors look really good. And even though sublimation, when you print a design, the colors are dual, you can still see each color. So let me pull it out so you can understand what I'm talking about. So let me pull out this. I printed using the Sawgrass printer. And you can still see the black, right? The black on the stem, the black on the name. You can see the yellow, and you can definitely see what each color looks like. And even though it's a little dull, because you can definitely see the difference of before and after, right? Oops, flipped it upside down. Okay, you can definitely see the difference before and after because it looks a lot more vibrant. The colors are true. So this is one of the things that I look at when talking about sublimation printers and the way your prints look. You will always have that quality with an original sublimation printer. So any of those three work. I personally use the Sawgrass SG500. I hope that answered that question. It was a long explanation, but I think it's very important to note the importance of using a original sublimation printer. And then these printers come with their own softwares that you can use to print. And the cool thing about, for example, the Sawgrass is that you can choose the type of substrate. So it will say polyester, a tumbler, it would say wood. So it has different types of substrates that you can choose from. And what it does, it according to the product you're going to sublimate to, which is awesome because then your result is very professional and vibrant. All right, so I've placed my pencil case there. I'm placing a new piece of butcher paper to ensure that the colors from previous print, remember that I showed you, don't transfer over to that one. And I'm sublimating at 385 for 45 seconds, same time and temperature as before. And even though I used the markers, I'm using the same time and temperature based on the fabric. Do we have any questions? Any other questions?
Nope, not at the moment.
Okay, cool. All right, so we're just gonna wait for this one to be done. But I really loved how this turned out. I was afraid of my cursive F, but it turned out pretty well. It looks so good. And it was really easy to do. It just took me a couple of, I think, like 2 minutes maybe max, and then we were done with it. And I can definitely do the back side, which is cool. I'll probably have one of my boys draw on that side. All right, so again, see how I did the pencil, my name with the pencil? And you can somewhat see there the ink. I still wouldn't use this anymore, at least not the top portion that has the ink, to prevent that from staining future projects. You can see that ink is transferring out, so that already tells me that I did a great job and it completed transfer over. So now it's time for the big reveal. Hey, how cute is that? I love it. I absolutely loved it. I'm obsessed with it. Looks so cute. And then I can save it. So when I'm older, I can see if I write the same. Just kidding. But that is my 2 examples of using these sublimation markers on linen and the flip sequin. And you can tell here how cool these colors transferred over. I even did 2 tones on the middle flower, and you can see the 2 tones that transfer over, so that's pretty neat. All right, so we have that one. I'm gonna put back on my table the projects that we worked on today. I have the pencil cases. Again, you can sublimate just the flip sequin and leave this one blank, or you can sublimate both sides, which is pretty awesome. And that's the satin side. Let's put these here. Let's flip it over so you can see how those turned out. And then we have the linen. This one was the one we just did on both sides of sublimated the same print. This one only has it on one side, so you can even sublimate the back side and add a name to it. And that is our project. Look how easy it was to make. I know I technically did 2 before class, but I could have easily done all 6 of these projects using the Workspace heat press. Only took me 45 seconds on each side, right? 45 seconds one side, flip it over 45 seconds. But if we were wanting to do more than one, I can place one on each side and would be able to sublimate a lot faster. So again, this is a quick project that you can do for back to school, for your student teacher, and for your students redesign. I designed them using Canva, printed them using the Sawgrass Print Mate, which is their print manager system. Chose polyester. Even though this is flip sequence, I still chose polyester. And you have the results on all the projects. And again, like I mentioned, buying quality items will guarantee that it doesn't matter how many times you make this project, you will have the same result, the same vibrancy on the colors, and that is a goal to have, especially if you're taking this into a business from home. And then you have the option, of course, of using the markers like I showed you. Where did I leave my markers? Oh, they fell. Okay, So using the markers to create the sides on these pencil cases. And you can mix and match. You can do a print on one side and the other side you probably want to use the markers. And that's a really easy project to do. Okay. Any questions so far? Oop.
Nope, Abby, everything's looking good over here.
Okay, perfect. So I'm just gonna walk through again with the products that you would need for this project in case anyone watching later would like to know. So first of all, you would need your pencil case, whether it is the linen pencil case or the flip sequence, okay? And they all come in sets of, let me put this one here. They all come in sets of 4 on each of them. And then we would need a lint roller for the fabric. You don't need a lint roller for the flip sequence unless you're sublimating on the back side, which is the not polyester, sorry, satin side. I lost my train of thought, didn't know what I was doing. And you need a heat press, of course, and tape dispenser. And I'm forgetting something. What did I show you guys before? Oh, ruler. So basically your ruler is just so you can measure the, first of all, I showed you how to measure the actual pencil case. Make sure you're measuring below the zipper. And then your second measurement would be the actual part of the bag where you're sublimating on. And as a rule of thumb, I use 2 finger in each 4 sides to create like a margin where I will be sublimating. And so once you've done that and you measure, I like to keep mine 6 inches maximum in width, and in height for this one about 4 inches, just so that it's not going to the curved parts of your pencil case. And then because it doesn't have that direct hit, you won't have an even transfer if you do it that way. If you were planning on sublimating the whole pencil case, I would recommend putting something inside of your bag so that you create that even surface area. So it lifts where you have these stitches here, or on the top where you have the zipper. Keep your zipper outside of your heat press to make sure, even though if you put something in there, I would suggest keeping the zipper outside so you don't have these thicker parts of your zipper in the way. And then again, that will make those colors look uneven because then you won't have an even transfer. And sublimation paper. I have some here. Oh, I actually don't have some here. I have some here to show you. Sublimation paper and butcher paper. So our Craft Express sublimation paper has one side where you can see the Craft Express logo and the other side is white. So you always want to make sure you sublimate on this side. This is a special kind of paper, so you wouldn't be able to use any printer paper. It needs to be sublimation paper. This is what's compatible with both the printer and ink. The ink gets absorbed by the paper, and the cool thing about this sublimation paper is it dries as soon as it prints, so you don't have that problem of the ink smearing if you accidentally touch it. So always make sure that you are purchasing good quality sublimation paper to prevent that ink from spreading, or if you accidentally touch it, you have that smear and it will be visible after you transfer it. So sublimation paper, and I'm keeping these items here on the table so you can view them, and butcher paper, which I did show you. So butcher paper or parchment paper to protect your press. It's not so much of your design that you're sublimating, is to protect the press. So what this does is create a barrier between your project and the top plate of the heat press or the bottom plate, and it absorbs that ink, so then that ink doesn't transfer over to your press, and then you have stains on your mat or stains on the press, and then it goes over to the next project like I showed you here. How this paper was able to absorb the ink from the other print. So we have this one's a lot more visible than in this one, but we do have some ink transfer. So then I wouldn't use these again. Okay. I know I didn't get this question this time, but just in case, I usually get this question, can I reuse the paper? Because I still see some ink, right? I always get this question whenever I'm teaching these classes. And despite of still seeing some ink on your paper, I don't recommend it using it again because you will get a faded look. It won't be as vibrant as it came out the first time. So I don't recommend reusing it. And so for example, the other reason why I wouldn't recommend using it is this right here. I think you can see it more on this one. Can you see there the shape of the sequence? You can see it on the print a little bit. And so even though this looks like it still has ink, if I were to press it again, I will be pressing the shape of my sequence on the whatever place I'm pressing it again, whether it's a sequence or a linen, and you're going to see those marks on your transfer. So I don't recommend reusing any of your prints. These are to be used once and that's it. We discard them and we would have to print again in order to sublimate. Okay, so sublimation paper, a ruler, your surface, your product, polyester product, heat resistant tape. I use the tape dispenser. It's not necessary, but I love it because it cuts my tape for me, and a lint roller to make sure you clean, especially the linen pencil case. This one not so much, but this one, yeah, we do want to clean it before we transfer anything, so that when we're pressing it, especially in lint, if you don't clean it and you press it, you will see lint on your design, and then you can't remove it anymore, even after washing. Okay, so those are my tips for today when sublimating. Any product, but specifically, our projects for today were these pencil cases. Is there anything else for me or any questions?
Nope, I think you've answered everybody's question.
Perfect. So then I hope you enjoyed the class today. We did, you should have some of the links of the products, correct?
That is correct. They're also in the on the page for this class. So
Perfect. So you have the links to the products that I used in today's class. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned some good tips, especially if there's anything you can take from today's class, please take the tearing the paper part when you're transferring over to fabrics to make sure that you don't have those lines embossed, which I absolutely love because you can't even tell. And so we hope you enjoyed this class and come back to learn more of how to work with sublimation with the different sublimation products that you can sublimate on. Remember, they have to be 100% polyester. They have to have an even coating, and I highly recommend that you get yourself a sublimation printer, original sublimation printer, so you always have this beautiful results and projects, and it's not a headache because sublimation is very, very easy, and there's a lot of beginner friendly projects that you can make, and we want you to enjoy it.
thanks for joining us,
So that
everyone.
is,
Have a
thank
great
you.
night.
All right. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.